Hello, welcome to Cade's Kaleidoscope podcast. My name is Preston. This is your resource for sobriety, holistic health, and travel. I'm here talking today with
Lagan Kukreja.
And our conversation started out because I was striking up conversation and heard him with his with his Hindi accent. An accent that sounded to me like from India, so I said to him, Shri Guru Charana Saro Jarada Nijumanu Mukuru Surhari Barno Rago Balavivala Yashu Jodayaku Palachari. And that's the first stanza of a poem or a song which is called the Hanuman Chalisa. And so I wanted to ask, I'm sorry, what's your name is Lagan?
Yes.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask Lagan to explain a bit about how he discovered the Hanuman Chalisa.
So talking about the times I was in school. So in the school I was having lunch at that time. One of my friend came and he started reciting Hanuman Chalisa. So
And what age were you?
So in India, if I'm in third class, I can say I was about 8 years. So when I was 8, at that young age, if you get to know something new, you are very curious to explore it. So like that, my friend told me about the Hanuman Chalisa. I went home and asked my father about Hanuman Chalisa, and I was very surprised that in my home everyone know and remember Hanuman Chalisa by heart. So I started learning Hanuman Chalisa and then started remembering Hanuman Chalisa. In an year or so, I was fluent and I learned it by my heart. And now I am 23. I'll be turning 24 in next month, and I can say that we have a habit at my home that we recite Hanuman Chalisa before going to sleep. The thing is, we can chant this beautiful poem, or you can say mantra from Hanuman Chalisa at any time, but it is believed that Hanuman Chalisa, who is considered one of the great devotee of Lord Sri Ram, so he is mainly dedicated towards serving him during the course of day, and in the evening he comes to rest and we please him. So this is one of the thing that I follow. I usually chant Hanuman Chalisa after 11:30 a.m. and this is one of the most powerful thing. Talking about who is Hanuman, so if you say Hanuman is one of the god of our Indian culture who helped Lord Ram in one of the battle against the evil.
And that's great. And I wanted to ask, of course, am I correct when I say Hinduism is a title given to all religions of India?
So in India, if I say there are many religions that are being practiced, there are Hinduism, there is Muslims, there are Christians, there are Buddhism, but if I say majority of them, this is Hinduism. And there are other also religion that are being followed like Jainism and other religions which are very less in percentages. But if you say India, you say Hinduism. But we don't stereotype our India on particularly any religion. We considered our country to be secular. That is written in our constitution. But yeah, you can say majority of us are Hindu in our country. Yeah.
And Hanuman is one of the gods, or Hanuman is God of your kind of Hinduism?
So if I say in Hinduism we have 33 crore Devi and Devtas and God. So he is one of the god. There are many other god that we worship, so there is no hard and straight rule or any strict rule that we have to worship one particular god. It's depending upon one's own will. There is one of my friend who usually worship every religion. She is Sikh, so in Sikh we worship God Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Guru Arjan Dev Ji. So these they are born in India back in 15th or 16th century, and being a Sikh, she follows Hinduism, she follows Islam, she follows Christianity, so she worship every god.
That's fascinating. And she's Sikh. So when I hear that in English, I think it sounds like she has an illness. But you're saying Sikh is the name of a religion in India.
Yeah. So if we say Sikh, it is SICK, which is an English word. But if I say Sikh, it is SIKH, which is a part of religion, or not a part of religion. It is a religion in India. So they worship Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Guru Nanak Arjan Dev Ji, and there are 10 Guru that they worship, and they consider their hairs to be as a part of their spiritualities. So if you see a Sikh man, he must be wearing a turban, and similarly they follow their practices of Sikhism.
That's fascinating, and I can tell you in Oregon, and California, and Washington State, where I'm from, I know people who practice Kundalini Yoga, or Sikhism as they call it, but they're saying it incorrectly. They're calling it Sikh. I mean, maybe that's just evolved in the United States. And in California, there's a huge number of people from India who moved to California, and they practice Sikhism today. And some of them wear swords. The males wear swords, and that's that. Anyway, I wanted to ask you specifically about Hanuman, because that was how we started this conversation. And you had explained earlier a bit about a 40-day period where you dedicate yourself to sing, or could you continue to talk about that?
So 40-day period, or we call it as Chaliya.
Yeah.
So in Chaliya, what we do, we abstain ourselves from drinking liquor, eating any kind of food that that is not allowed in our religion to eat, and we focus and we pray to our God. There is no specific thing that we need to do while praying. It's totally depending upon us. If we want to fast, we can fast, or if we want to recite some strong prayers. So talking about my personal experience, I am a devotee of Hanumana, and I did my Chaliya in the month of June, where
In June of what year?
this year 2021. So it started, and I made a habit that I will do Hanuman Chalisa 11 times in the evening by lighting a ghee lamp, which is considered to be one of the thing in our religion, that if we light a ghee lamp, we are actually starting our prayer. I close my eyes, I focus on the image of Hanuman in my head, and then I recite the Hanuman Chalisa 11 times. After that, we
And how long does it take you to chant the Hanuman Chalisa 11 times? I know when I sing the Hanuman Chalisa, it takes me between 7 and 11 minutes one time.
So if I say if I say duration of chanting one single Hanuman Chalisa, and I am doing it for 11 times, it totally depends upon me. So I'm very fluent in that particular language, so I can say I can chant it in 2 minutes, the complete. And if I enjoy it and sing it, then it can take 7 to 11 minutes, like you are saying. So usually I devote 30 to 45 minutes chanting Hanuman Chalisa. It's not that when I am done with my 11 Hanuman Chalisas, I stood up from my place and I go out. After that, what I follow, I kept my eyes closed and I try to focus on the image of Hanuman Chalisa. And there are many thoughts when you are praying, so it's very difficult to maintain that image in your head. But I try to keep it at as maximum times as I want, and after that I focus for 10 minutes, keeping out my all the worry in the front of Lord Hanuman, and bringing the faith in me that now my problems will be solved. And if I want to add on, they are being solved. And what I have asked, I believed it and I have received it.
That's beautiful. So I wanted to just confirm for the audience, you are a devotee of Sri Hanuman.
Yeah, I am a devotee of Lord Hanumana in our country. Apart from that, not as I have told you in the earlier part of the thing, there is no hard and straight rule that we have to follow one god. Apart from that, there is Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva is considered to be the one who actually made Hanumana into the existence at that period. So I worship Lord Shiva on Mondays. Tuesdays are considered to be the day of Lord Hanumana. So if I say 2-3 gods, there is one Lord Hanumana, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu that I pray.
That's terrific. And I'm horrible with names. Remind me your name again. It's
Lagan.
Lagan. It's pronounced Lagan. Great. And my name is Preston. Nice to meet you. I was born and raised Christian, and I still consider myself a liberal, open-minded Christian today.
Okay.
And this is something a little controversial to many Christians, because I continue my music, my worship of Jesus, while I simultaneously sometimes sing songs and praise of Hanuman.
Okay.
And I feel like when I sing to Hanuman and Jesus together, I receive more good luck.
Yeah.
This conversation, this podcast we're recording right now, is a direct result of our shared devotion to Hanuman,
Right.
or Jesus, who knows.
Yes.
So as you can hear, we're actually sitting on an Amtrak train en route. I'm on my way to Chicago from Boston, and you're on a trip right now?
Buffalo. I'm going to Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Yeah,
You're going to
so
Buffalo.
I'll be starting my college tomorrow. So it's a good luck, you get to talk about your God with someone who is already into that God. So it's a good luck for me too.
Yeah, I'm glad. So Lagan, you were telling me that you're going to Buffalo right now from Boston? You
Yes.
spent the last 10 days in Boston?
Yeah.
How long have you been in the United States?
I arrived in the United States on 17th of this month, and it's been like 12 or 13 days. I've been staying in Boston with my friends and family. Yeah, and now I'm going to Buffalo for my higher studies. Yeah.
Good. So just for the podcast audience, we're recording this at the end of the month of August of 2021, and we're in the COVID-19 pandemic still, even though we have the vaccine, and I assume you've been vaccinated?
Yes, yeah, I've been vaccinated. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you if you could explain some more about Hanuman, and because I'm fascinated by the religions of India. I know that in the 70s, a man from the United States became famous in India and in the States, and his name is Ram Dass or Richard Alpert. And have you heard of Ram Dass or Richard Alpert?
No, sorry.
Okay. Well, that's fine, because he became a devotee to an Indian man named Maharaji, or, well, basically, I'll have to fact check this when I say it, because Ram Dass or Richard Alpert, he traveled to India and he himself became a devotee of Hanuman, but he was also a devotee of his master, who is a man in India who they call Ramana Maharji. Anyway, we're just three people talking in different ways about Hanuman. Do you believe Hanuman? First, explain to the absolute beginner, to somebody who has no background in Indian religion, who is Hanuman?
So if we say who is Hanuman, so Hanuman is someone. If we ask someone who is Hanuman to a child in India, he would say he's the one who helped Lord Ram in his one of the main battles against Ravan in Sri Lanka. If we say who is Hanuman to Arjun, Arjun is one of the people who fought the battle of Mahabharata.
Am I right? Arjun is the best friend of Krishna?
Yes. You can say the best friend of Krishna. You can say brother of Krishna. But yes, absolutely. So Hanuman is someone who saved Arjun's Rath. So Rath is where one warrior sits and he has a horse rider with him attached to it, and that is being used in our battlefield in India. So there are many definitions we can give to Hanuman, but if we are in some kind of fear, who will convert it into the faith, we'll say Hanumana.
That's fascinating. I also wanted to ask, is there a god who created Hanuman?
If we use that word created in the way who actually bring Hanuman into existence, yes, there is a god who brought Hanuman into the existence at that time. His name is Lord Shiva. So in Hindi we called it as Ansh of Hanuman, or we can say that the incarnation of Lord Shiva. If we use exact words, Hanuman is incarnation of Lord Shiva.
Great, great. And Lord Shiva is also is created by Brahma, or is Shiva a self-existing god?
So if we say God is like energy in every form, neither can be created nor be destroyed. But in our mythology, what we follow, we have three lords: Lords Brahma, who created the things, who is the one who created everything, and then comes the Lord Vishnu, who mediator, or can be said when there's need to be some kind of balance between good and evil. He comes up and he shows up. And Lord Shiva, who is considered to be the destroyer. But the word destroyer here means that he is not very calm. But if we study Lord Shiva is one of the god who can be easily praised and can easily be pleased. And he's the one, he has many different names describing his attitude and describing his how he is exactly. So if we talk about who created gods, so this will be very very in-depth conversation exploring whether they are created or incarnated. But for if we say Lord Hanumana, he is an incarnation of Lord Shiva. Yeah.
That's great. And I wanted to ask, I still didn't quite understand, is Shiva a god incarnated from someone else?
He is self-existing.
Okay, Shiva. Because I've heard some people say Brahma is the
creator. Brahma can be said as the creator of this world.
Okay. Is Brahma and Shiva two words for the same person?
No, they both are different person.
Okay. Great. And there's a legend that I heard. Now, please edit me or tell me if I remember this correctly. Now, this is just a legend. I'm not saying this is what Hindus believe, but there is out in space, there is somebody having a dream, and they're just sleeping, having a dream, and from their belly button is growing a vine, and that vine grows out, and on the end of the vine is a leaf, and on the leaf there is sitting a person with their eyes closed, and they are projecting the dream of the dreamer, and we are now living inside of that dream. Have I accurately described any of the legends of Hinduism?
So if we say the stories about Hinduism, so there is no particular story. There are many versions of a story, if I say, but the end conversation, if we say the conclusion we are trying to figure it out, have the same kind of meaning. So usually what we do, we listen to the story to actually grasp the meaning, not to remember the story. If I quote an example, so they were believed that Hanuman too have written a Hanuman's version of Ramayana, but it has two forms of stories. So I like to describe it if you want to hear it, but this is the gist. If I come out of the story that there was some kind of version of Ramayana written by Hanuman. Yeah. So, and in the end I would like to say that there are stories, many stories, but the meaning that particular story is giving is the same or on the similar note. Yeah.
That's great. Is there anything you'd like to share with the audience of Cade's Kaleidoscope podcast on this subject?
So if I want to share about my thoughts, I consider myself to be a spiritual person. So there are many ways you can practice spirituality, and one of them which I followed is to worship my God, learn from them, ask from them, believe them, and then receive it. And the part of my spirituality is try to forgive people and try to do good karma. And I'll only say to the audience and the people that it's not necessary that you follow any particular religion, or if you want to particularly do something religious thing. Just be good to the people, be good to yourself, be polite to the people, be polite to yourself. This is the actual form of spirituality. And if we see that the COVID-19 has given us many lessons, and one of them is that the world is uncertain. We have lost many lives, we have lost someone who we never dreamt of, and it's better to be polite with everyone at most of the time. Try to keep our anger and our passive anger in our pockets, and this is the real form of spirituality, what I believe. And by this means of Cade's Kaleidoscope, if I'm able to deliver this message, this beautiful message, I'm more than grateful, and thanks to him that he included me in his podcast. Thank you.
Amen. So thank you very much for listening. If you'd like to support us, the links to do that will be included in the notes of this podcast. You can Venmo me, you can send money through PayPal, through Cash App. Also, if you'd like to pre-order my first book, you are welcome to do that. The information to pre-order that first book is also included in the show notes of this page. And please do take a moment, if you can, to like, comment, and subscribe. Help make this podcast successful. And please leave a review. You can leave a review wherever you hear this podcast.